I've got an extra one right here.
Thank you.
How you enjoy working with Randall Scott?
What's my name? He's done a good job for us.
That's good.
He has a
He doing it or one of his?
guy named Eric Oberman out of the offices out of Actors.
Okay.
He's really who we've been dealing with, which is probably better. Randall's doing
He goes, but it's probably to get through that door.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Well, your life is gonna get easier when you get a permit person.
She starts in May. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
And then you can really move into
So
this role and
But-
probably
and
others that you're doing.
there's a couple of other things that will have to shift and be moved, but yeah, eventually. Sorry, I have my phone in my face. I can see
Can't
it, but I
find it.
can't find it.
I can't.
So, yeah, just have to get her trained. I've really trained to do one before, so I'm a little nervous about that.
But Eric, the one that has.
Oh,
really
no,
good-
you'll be
It'll be
great.
okay. It'll be fine.
great, yeah.
But with new software and everything, it's
Oh,
gonna be,
man.
Software
you know.
delivery.
Then I need to get her.
Well, my timepiece says 12 o'clock, so I suppose that means we should start. I guess we start with the roll call, Susan.
Yes, sir. Bob Breedlove.
Here.
Charles Parker. Ernie LaFleur.
Here.
John Chambers. Maria Davenport. Here. Tom Trimble. And Jerry Akins.
Here.
We have a quorum there.
First order of business is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. And they look fine to me. Would anybody like to?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Okay.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes approved. Moving on to presentations, I guess do we have a presentation or a discussion, I guess, about the website? Is this where that
That'll
comes,
be
or is that
further
later?
down in the agenda.
Further down,
so
okay.
We don't have any presentations under this item.
Under C, okay. So public forum, and we have Butch Hill here. Butch, you have a request?
Well, I know you're gonna be talking about parks today, I am too. So we'll get started a little bit early on parks, I guess. It's amazing, but we're at phase 7
Wow.
of Forestdale. I didn't, Bob, you mentioned it, you said it'll take me about 5 years to do it. I said, no, we're doing 3.5. Well, we didn't quite make it. So we are taking the time. But making that last road in is leading us into where we have always planned on putting the park in Forestdale. And I thought originally it was 3.5 acres, we got it surveyed off again, it's 4.2. So, or 4.1, I think it was 4.2 acres is roughly. So, we're, been talking to people, there as well, you know, and I know we had the master plan for the park, and I've been a little bit involved in that as well too. And of course, we've talked to Leslie about, there's some funds that are being held back that we can actually use for that, but I would like to approach the EDC, and ask them for additional funds. I know one thing that we have, looked at, most of the people there in the survey, that I've read about the park plan, there has not been any mention, well, they discussed this about we're lacking a dog park. And in Forestdale, we either have kids, pets, or kids and pets. So it's a combination. And, I don't know anything about dogs, and I don't know anything about parks. I'm trying to figure all this out. So I know lots of people have approached me about, are you gonna build a dog park there? And I said, well, we plan on something for the kids and something for the animals and have some natural trails. And we're still talking about attempting to find a way to connect that park to the rest of the park system. And I know that's something that I think everyone's been attempting to do too. And we're open-minded about that. So So, I don't know an exact figure that we will need, but I would like to, get included into any types of funds that we could possibly get through the EDC that could help do that. Of course, this park, the land and everything will be donated to the city as well too, which is, sizable amount of money as well. So, but, and I don't know if I need to do the construction or how this all works. I mean, I've never built a park. Of course, I've never built a development either, but that doesn't mean anything. And, so we're attempting to find a way to give to the community something that they actually need and will use. But that's been an excitement for the people in the area, knowing that we are planning, or have always planned on doing something in that area. So, I don't know what the next steps are. I have no clue, what we have to do to, request funds or come up with a plan. And, I know there's a master plan, but, I'm looking for suggestions or how to approach what's the next steps that we need to make. So, that's basically all I had to say today, and, let me know what I need to do next.
That's the strip of land right in front of the,
No, it's actually the wooded area that's down, there's a new street that's gonna be coming in that's called Alex. And so Alex will take from Stephanie, which is one of the cross streets, and Forestdale Boulevard, which is actually our main drag down there. That will come in and connect in that corner to the west. It's all wooded right now.
Yeah.
And, so the front portion is actually going to be some townhomes or roadhouses or something up in that area. And then we got the commercial that's going to go down 346. So we got 5.5 acres there for commercial.
oh, okay.
So all that banding around those roads are still going to be some buildings, and the park will be nestled back in the back. So there's actually a little stream that runs off of our property, which takes our stormwater off, of course, and borders over on Joe Hayden's property. So it's a nice little area back there. It's hadn't been, well, it's been explored by many dirt bikes, I think. But, recently, I know, because I've seen the tracks and lots of deers. So, but that's the area that we're talking about.
So members, that part of the discussion isn't actually on your agenda for today, so there's not really any feedback that we can give to Mr. Hall, other than if you'll give me a little bit to talk to Mr. Hall and we maybe kind of work through some next steps. We do need to work through, when this project first came about, we were anticipating some sort of economic development agreement, so we have been setting those permit fees kind of to the side and keeping track of that, and so I think we can look at doing an agreement to reallocate those funds specific to that neighborhood. So, if you will, give Mr. Hall and I some time to get together and kind of flesh that out a little bit.
I'm ready.
Okay, all right.
And there's no dispute about the long-term ownership and maintenance being the city? Or is that still on there?
As part of the development discussion, that was anticipated in 2024.
Okay. Thanks, Butch. Okay. We've got, are we now ready for the website proposal, Leslie?
Yes, sir, and Susan is gonna talk about that.
Okay, members, I've started working with ETCOG, East Texas Council of Governments, to develop a website for the EDC. It's been very preliminary work thus far. I've answered some questions for them, we've had a conversation, we've talked about kind of what we would like to see. Hopefully you all will agree with me on that when we get to that point. But right now, before you, they've presented a proposal of what timeline of how long they think it may take, and then what the cost would be. Lindsay Vanderbilt is the person who presented that proposal. She has built websites for ETCOG for about 16 years, and recently, she builds their websites, various GoBus, some other things that, programs that they have. But they recently started getting requests from outside of their organization to help build websites or to build websites, and so they've just recently started doing that. The city of Log Cabin is one of their first ones, if y'all want to look at that later on. She's got some others in there that she recommends as ones to go and look at of her work. So from there, let me see, where am I? Talking with them, they have a professional photographer and a licensed drone that I also asked them to put into the proposal that's separate in case we wanted to use them or in case we did not want to use it. It's like it's about $1,000 for that. I personally think it would be great to have. We need some good photography for our website. And if we could fly the city and show open land or spaces that we have available, so we could have that on the website as well, I think that would be great. The cost to me seems very reasonable, considering we are working on a site refresh for the city itself. And I know how much we spent on that website several years ago, and this is a fraction of that cost. Once they get it built and they hand it over to us, we'll all have training. Leslie, Stephanie, and I will all have training. We'll be able to edit that website, keep it up to date, do all of that maintenance type work daily maintenance type work we would need to do. And of course, they're always available to make changes for us when it gets to be more detailed.
And we have asked, I'm not sure if we've received an answer yet, if their economic development folks
Yes.
within ETCOG would help us develop the content for the website as well. So, as Susan and I were talking, kind of working through this, I think they provide a depth and breadth of knowledge that far exceeds our capability. I know they do, far exceeds my capabilities anyway.
Yes.
But I think, their website design is simple, but, I will tell you, for our city website, the last time I priced one out, which has now been 5 years ago or longer, was around $30,000, and that did not include any content development, photography, anything of that nature. So it's an incredibly reasonable price. I think it gives us a level of expertise that I don't have in-house, and I think it would be a great step forward. It meets one of your goals that you've been looking to do, and ETCOG is always a great partner for us. So
That's a great price.
It is.
And we've got some good things to talk about with our new park and all that. And is there gonna be any, professional park or anything like that near, that would be available to the EDC for encouraging companies in the area associated with that park, or is it gonna be exclusively recreational? We don't know.
I'd say exclusively recreational. When I think about where that park is located, and I want to make sure we're talking about the same piece of property. We're talking about
Behind
Shea
Brookshire's.
Henry. Yeah, it's pretty much, other than Brookshire's and Stanton Smith School District, it's surrounded completely by residential. So I don't anticipate really any business use.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it wouldn't be anything like, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, it really helps an EDC if they actually have some properties to potentially offer businesses, but be for like professional buildings, not like a commercial strip or something.
Yeah, there's not really anything.
Anyway, that may be a whole other
Yeah,
thing.
that's probably for another item, so.
Just any ideas like that we did have, this would be a great place to be putting it out there if we were seeking, other companies to consider White House for, the next,
Yeah, but I do think it is a big draw.
next
for-
Jasper situation.
Yeah, for companies, for their employees, to live here and call this home.
Yep.
It's a quality of life.
Quality of life, yeah.
So, well, I guess the main issue for today is to make a motion regarding approval of this for website development. So that's what primarily favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Okay.
is that with photography costs included?
Yes,
Yes.
the whole
Yep.
proposal as presented. That would be great. We'll have to put on our thinking cap what we're trying to say.
We will.
Yes.
We're hoping to leverage all of the COG resources to get that flushed out for
Right.
us, so.
Discuss the Parks and Recreation Trail Master Plan.
So, as most of you know, or all of you know, in 2018, the city council came up with a strategic plan, and it really had a heavy focus on kind of recreating a downtown feel. And then, of course, since then, we did a community survey in 2021, which showed that we were lacking in community spaces, both outdoor and indoor, for our communities. And so since then, we've really kind of been on a mission to correct that. And so here you'll see the green property is kind of the property downtown that we have had for quite some time. So this property and the rec property to the rear. But the blue property, the blue shapes outline property that has since been purchased. And so for quality of life initiatives. So we recently completed our Parks and Trails Master Plan, and as a part of that, we're looking at what the future of our park system will be. This is a very preliminary concept rendering of this park area here. One of the things that is high on our initiatives list is a new fire station. We did a capital improvements committee 2 summers ago now, and that was the number 1 project on their list, the highest priority. If you've seen their sleeping quarters over there, you'll understand why. I don't know how they get any rest when they're there. But this is a look at what that could potentially look like with trail use, where the railroad line is in the future. It shows the space that we're sharing with the school district for soccer, our future community center, what's being utilized for the farmers market, and how we could revamp maybe this area down here. Now, I will say the council hasn't taken any action on this. They've seen it very, very briefly as a part of the parks plan discussion, and this is very preliminary, but I just wanted to show it to you so that you'll have an idea of some of the quality of life things that we're looking at. And this also takes into account a remodeled and expanded city hall that is planned for once we complete the community center work. And we'll talk a little bit more about the community center work in a minute. But this is the preliminary concept plan for the Shahan Ranch Park. Ernie, to answer your question, again, this is preliminary. We are in the process, and at the end of this week, we'll be releasing an RFQ for planning services to develop a true concept plan for this park. But Stephanie and I met with Texas Parks and Wildlife Department last week to talk about their upcoming grant opportunities that may be available to us. And I believe in this park, we would be pursuing a $300,000 grant, which has a match of $300,000. So.
Nice.
That would be great. But again, this is all preliminary. We are working with the HOA. They have a newly formed HOA that has taken over the pond area, and so we're trying to get them to donate that to us so that we can incorporate that and maintain it. So we're really excited about what the future holds for this area. We think it'll be a great addition. We think we will be very competitive for grant funding because of the proximity to the schools and neighborhoods. And it was very positive feedback that we received at that meeting. So we're really excited about that. I think the park property that we have here is just over an acre. What you see here is about 35 acres. So when you talk about expanding our park spaces.
Yes.
No, this will be huge. This is a centerpiece.
And so a few things to point out around the perimeter. You can't really tell here. There are some areas that are paved walking trails. Stephanie, you remember, are they 12 foot wide? 8 feet
Foot
wide,
wide for the main trailer on the outside, and he said 6 foot for the ones that cut through.
kind of the interior ones. And then, so there's some area up here to the north. If we have to phase this project, this would probably be phase 2, up in this northern portion. Significant parking down here. You've got some sports courts shown, and then an open play area, restrooms at both ends are shown. Playground, maybe a splash pad, that type of thing. And again, this property was purchased with American Rescue Plan Act funds, which specifically allow for expanded or existing park uses. And so we felt like that was a really good bang for our buck, to add that level of land for our community play spaces. In our park survey, one of the biggest things we heard was paved and lit walking trails. So that's the plan for here as well.
Yeah.
And who has the pond, right?
The homeowners association has the pond currently, but we are working with them and we'll meet with them the first week of May to talk about the donation of that property.
What all sports facilities did you say were going in there?
He's showing basketball and pickleball. So 4 pickleball courts and a basketball court, but again, he was just showing what
Gotcha.
could go there. We will do a public input process on this concept plan to see what our community wants. The plan right now, I think what we have in the proposal is for 1 community input meeting on what they want to see out here, and then 1 meeting with the homeowners association, because it's obviously gonna impact that neighborhood pretty significantly based on what goes out there, so we wanna make sure we're hearing their feedback and input as well. So, I think, honestly, I think it'll help alleviate some issues that they're dealing with over there right now with parking, and when the school has events, I think people are doing some on-street parking that if we can add an additional 68 spaces over there, that would help alleviate some of that, and is a whole lot less impactful than another 125 homes would be. So,
Yeah.
and we get to keep the tree canopies, and I mean, there are just some really neat things that I think we can do there.
How do you
That's
see,
exciting.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said that's exciting.
Yeah, sure is. What do you see the role of the EDC being in this?
So as a type B EDC, you guys can do some quality of life projects. So you could partner with the city if there are certain aspects of this that you really want to see go through, or if the city were to come to you and say, hey, we need help getting our match, or some of those kind of things. There are some things that this grant won't fund, like they're not super keen on funding parking areas and those types of things. Even though they know they have to be there, bathrooms is another one. Certain types of grass they don't fund. It's interesting. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's some interesting things. But off the top of my head, there's no ask right now from the city to the EDC. It's just something that I think, we've put a lot of work and effort into some of these quality of life initiatives to make sure that we are the place that people want to continue to call home. And so, I think we will only see that reputation grow as we do some of these things. And I think if people want to call us home, they also want to work here so that they're not having to commute.
Well, that's
So
terrific.
that's the big one. Let's see. I think those were the big things I wanted to talk about.
Is there anything more about Blackhawk?
Have
Creek?
not heard anything additional on Blackhawk. I will say, no, I don't have anything else.
Okay, does anybody have any further questions for Leslie?
One more thing I'll add on this space here that is on the screen. So right now, we use about 1.5 acres really well for play space. But we have almost 10 acres here going all the way back to the front of Jasper Ventures. That's just not laid out well. We're not maximizing the space that we have. And so that's kind of my directive to have. We have 2 main issues that we need to solve, three main issues we need to solve. One is access for Jasper Ventures. Right now, to get to their facility, you're having to drive through a neighborhood.
Right, that's not good.
Are frequently confused by that and
Yep.
go back there and there's a $10 million facility. So they've added kind of an access road shown here that would go all the way back to the front of Jasper Ventures and would give them another access and keep them off of those residential streets in the back.
Nice.
That is largely gonna be dependent upon the railroad and the
Yeah,
impact of that property. Of course, a new fire station that we talked about, and then maximizing the space that we have and really kind of creating that continuity with the school district space that we're using for soccer, the rec, kind of having those spaces more connected, not at just the highway frontage. And then that access road also gives future opportunity to set up for festivals or food trucks or any of those types of things going forward. So we think that really could be a unique space. That one is not the priority. I will say our priority and focus right now is on the Shahan Ranch Park, just because of some limitations on having to spend those ARPA funds by December of 2026. So,
Oh, okay.
and this project is, like I said, again, has a lot of dependency on railroad ownership, city hall expansion and remodel, future fire stations. So there are a lot of pieces that really need to come together before we can do anything here.
So next year.
And then one other kind of piece of information that will impact the EDC, if you all don't know, I can't remember what we've talked about and what we haven't talked about. The city did purchase this property at the intersection of Hagan, Memory, and Railroad from the developer that was gonna develop right at 98 Homes, I believe. And the future use for that is to be determined. There is a question as to whether or not one day that will be kind of ripe for commercial development. Will it be residential? Will it be park use? Those types of things. And so the city council felt, because of its connectivity to Black Hawk Creek Hike and Bike Trail, or the future of that trail along that rail corridor, the size of it, its centralized location, they wanted to go ahead and move forward on the purchase, but have not yet determined what the use will be. There's been talk about maybe a future water well. There's been talk about dedicating at least some of it for park usage.
And can you point that out on there again, where you, that area you're talking about?
Where our house is.
Oh, your mouse is over there. Oh, okay, right there.
Did the group that was buying the right of way from 346, the old railroad right of way, ever happen? Ever officially?
It has
get
not
done?
happened yet.
Still haven't.
Union Pacific, every time they get a new attorney, we start over.
Oh,
So,
Has there been any official response from them of any kind?
no, Net RMA checks in with them pretty regularly, and it's just,
Yeah, that's been going on for over 5 years.
they're not in
Crazy.
Which
any hurry.
railroad company is it again?
United
Union.
Pacific, UPRC, United Pacific Railroad.
Yeah.
Union Pacific, I mean.
So I've heard that there's a group looking to purchase a portion of the railway north of, way north of White House, but it's on that same line, and I feel like if they are successful in their bid, it will speed up, hopefully, the sale of at least the southern portion from Hagen South. Because if Union Pacific can just if they get rid of a portion of that line, I think they have an impetus to get rid of the rest of it.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed that that group is successful in their project, and I don't have the details on that, and probably wouldn't be able to share them if I did, but hopefully, like I said, they'll be successful in their efforts, because I think that will only help our efforts to get that portion.
What do you, I'm just throwing this out just for people's feedback, but it would seem like as an EDC, I mean, some little piece of property could be just for professional buildings or some way of attracting other, not just standard strip development to the city would be something we'd wanna consider. I mean, what do you all think about that? Cause right now, we don't have anything. If some company's interested in, oh boy, you got these great parks and what a great suburban location for
Don't have any land.
for office building, I mean, we don't have anything that, that's what Tyler did with great effect with that whole development across from Sam's. They had that whole strip, and they got professional buildings all there that brought in, new pharmaceutical companies, et cetera, which is being, spurred by the new hospital, development, and doctors, physicians, college. but just having that and being, they brought in so much with that. And it doesn't take that much acreage.
So I
If
think-
you had 10 acres somewhere or 5 acres, it could be a big deal. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out.
Financially, you're getting to the point now that I think you can realistically start looking at purchasing some property. Not much, but some.
No, I know.
Susan did check with the comptroller's office yesterday about our sales tax election swap that we did. That won't go into effect until October of this year because it was eliminating a property tax to reduce sales tax. It has to follow the property tax adoption calendar. So that will go into effect in October. So you'll effectively start doubling the amount of revenue that you're seeing come in. And so I think it'll put you in a much better financial position to seriously consider purchasing land going forward.
So would it be beneficial, cause I agree with Ernie, to start identifying some locations that would be, kind of target areas and just seeing that the owners are willing.
So I know I've tried to personally reach out to one that is identified in the Tyler EDC strategic plan in White House. Haven't gotten a return call, so it's not on the market, but, and then we do work with another piece or an adjacent piece of that property, has been purchased by an individual landowner, and they are interested in selling parcels, so anytime we have someone come in that we think would be a good fit for that location, we're sharing that information with them, and so while you don't own property, I know Susan and I try to broker that as best we can, without getting in their business, you know, and try to help make those connections. So we'll see. I think, like I said, Tyler EDC has identified some property here that would be great for primary employment and some of those types of things. And so, I know at one point the mayor and I were trying to get with Scott Martinez and talk about it, but something came up and we weren't able to do it. So we'll revisit that and see.
It's just something to think about. But that would give us a lot of leverage as an EDC.
I can sit in with Scott too, I know him.
Okay, yeah. We just, whatever day we had scheduled, something came up and we weren't able to get together, so we just need to get it rescheduled.
You mentioned last month in your summary that there's a potential commercial project. Is that anywhere in a location that could be, clumped around?
I'm trying to think which one it would have been last month. I probably didn't say.
3 to 5,000 commercial office space with
That was the
automation.
That's the one where we put them in contact with that property owner that I was
Got
talking
you,
about.
okay.
I haven't heard back. I checked with them about 2 weeks ago and they had reached out and, she didn't give me any details, but they were trying to work together on that location, so. We took a good hard look at all the zoning throughout the city. We sat down and met with them and kind of showed them some zoning and gave them probably 3 to 5 different properties that they may want to look at. And so I think they probably reached out to one that we made that connection with. We'll see. I just need to follow back up with them.
Okay. Any other questions for Leslie on? Update, discuss, 109 East Main Street project.
Y'all have to forgive me. Have y'all seen the fly-through of what that's gonna look like in the future? No,
No,
I didn't
no,
think
I don't
we.
think so.
So I wanted to show you that. If you haven't noticed, Watson Commercial Construction, who will be overseeing the project, moved their construction trailer in last night. So we are getting close to starting to see some progress over there. So I thought you guys might be interested to see what that's gonna look like.
Love that.
So this is the exterior kind of fly around of what that building will look like when they're done.
Golly, what a difference.
Sorry, Butch.
We don't.
We're having some TV issues up
Having
here.
technical
Yeah, we're having
difficulties.
technical difficulties, but that's the fires.
Thank you.
I look forward to not seeing the blue building through the trees when
Yeah.
the leaves are gone.
Now, is this where the farmer's market is? Oh, wow.
It's that building, yeah.
That's a
This is
lot
what
of
it will
stuff.
look like.
Oh, man.
that's the outside. And let's take a look at it. So this is the reception, downstairs reception area. There's about an 18-inch difference in one side of that building and the other right now, so there are some challenges on figuring out how to make it feel like a cohesive space. There's a conference room, a little seating area, banquet space for right at about 100 in this room.
Boy, that would be really handy.
No
Yeah.
kidding, that's a good business.
This is about a 16-person executive level conference room, so
Oh, boy.
really nice finishes in here. Elevator right there to the right.
What a difference this is.
I don't know if you've been in that building now. I don't like to go in there unless somebody looks to like sage it and get all the ghosts out of it. This is the men's restroom.
Golly. Jerry Jones would be proud of that.
Yeah.
They got TVs on the wall.
Women's restroom. You'll notice there's changing tables in both the
Yeah.
men's and women's
Good,
restroom.
good.
Good.
Why's that?
Ah. This is the section where there's that 18-inch floor height difference. You can see the accommodator ramp.
Might have to have a step somewhere.
This hall, this is a 40 to 45 person training room.
Wow.
We'll also be able to convert for some of our larger group meetings that we have. So like our interagency council meeting is up to about 20 or 25 people, so we can kind of relay out that room for those meetings. This is just a small kind of catering type kitchen for any of the banquet space, or if you're having a training meeting and need somewhere to put food prior to, have that in there. The rooms that they're not going in, one was a family restroom and then some storage rooms for electrical, mechanical, those types of things. This is kind of a co-working space with another small conference room. We think this will be great for chamber networking events, any type of co-working that somebody wants to do during the day. I don't know about y'all, but I have a high school age student. She has nowhere to meet with like any groups that she's working on, short of going to someone's house. I'm not about that, you know. So it'd be nice to have a place where students can meet, Keep White House Beautiful can meet. Some of our groups that don't have anywhere to meet, they're largely dependent upon Mercy of churches or other employers.
Yeah, no, that would be terrific.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Now, is this available for other outside people to rent as well?
Now, will the city use it? I mean, the city will use it, I'm sure, but will there be any city offices per se in this?
We are fixing to go upstairs and you'll see
Oh.
kind of what we have up there. And this is really intended to be an office space for the EDC, the Chamber of Commerce, and then there will be one other available office up there for somebody. TBD, I guess. So a little reception area up here. So the idea is you'd have a receptionist downstairs. This is more the kind of secure office space up here for our EDC and chamber staff. And all three of these offices upstairs look the same, so they don't go in every one. And then another nice conference room, so if the EDC is doing an EDC meeting, you have the privacy and kind of separation from the space downstairs to be able to meet and have those conversations.
Boy, there's quite a bit of square footage in here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then it just goes down the stairs, so. So again, they've moved the construction trailer out. I think our contract states that they plan to be substantially complete by this time next year.
Oh
So,
my
Fingers,
goodness.
toes crossed that actually happens, but we're really excited about that. I think the council and mayor have done a great job of getting this planned, and we'll get it executed while still lowering our property tax rates through some really strategic financial planning. I think it will be kind of the catalyst for us to see a really big difference in our downtown area, so, it's really exciting.
Yeah, between that and the
Yeah.
park and everything, boy, this isn't gonna be your granddad's, White House.
That's right.
I think we're really excited to see, I've said this several times since I've been here, our city and public facilities don't match our community. And I think I'm really excited to see us represent our community well.
Yes, it's just gonna build on each
And
other.
give them something that
Yeah,
they
it's so
can be proud
synergistic.
of and use, and hopefully will be using on a daily basis, so.
How will this affect the farmer's market when they start building? Will they be able to continue with it?
So, for right now, we've been in close contact with the farmer's market throughout this process. They've always known since they moved down there, this project was in the works, because this was in the works prior to them even moving down there. So they're aware of it. It will impact parking for sure. They have a plan to kind of have their vendors park back behind the school administration building, so that they can allow for community parking in that lot that the school district owns, where vendors have been parking. But it will definitely impact the way they use that space. But
But they're just as excited as everyone else.
Yeah.
Like,
I think so,
they
too.
are extremely excited about this project, so they've kind of, I mean, they're willing to work with whatever. We
Yeah.
talked to them about different, like, places they can have the farmer's market, but they seem to wanna just stay there and go through growing pains with us.
yeah.
I love it there. I just think it's a concentration of just good quality of life stuff right
Yeah.
there.
I'm really excited for this to really be the heart of our community going forward.
One advantage of having the farmer's market continue while the construction's happening is it's gonna get the community excited about it.
That's right.
Everybody's gonna see the progress.
Oh, yeah.
You could almost have a thermometer or something, you know, maybe a way there, you know, or something. But I mean, I could see building a lot of community,
The stack of money that
interest.
we just erase as it gets. No, but.
Almost there, just need a few contributions.
Yeah. The mayor and council borrowed the money at the right time, our interest rate, because we borrowed in right at the beginning of 2022, I believe. Our interest rate was super low. We managed to hit it before
Oh,
interest
good.
rates went up, so we
That's
earned a
great.
little bit of money to help offset some of the cost increases, not all of them,
Good.
but some of
Yeah.
them. We're really excited about it. I think this is gonna be a huge addition and piece to our community going
Oh, I do
forward.
too.
So,
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal.
yeah, I'm really
Yay.
excited about it.
Future agenda items, do we have any proposals for future agenda topics?
We're so much better with impromptu.
I know.
I don't know of any other commercial projects coming up. Again, Mr. Hall and I will get together and talk about what he spoke about, so that may be a future agenda item. That's all I have.
Should we talk about possible properties, whether they're on the market or not, that might be candidates we should be thinking about? Is that
We
something?
can do that. We can set up an executive session discussion for that.
That would be really good, I would think.
Talk about potential
Well,
opportunities.
Things we should have our eyes on.
Yeah.
Okay, administrative reports. I don't know if we have any.
Susan,
They were in your
anything
package.
Didn't you see something?
I did, but I have a few things in the packet as well. I'm sure everyone has seen that Taco Bell is now underway, so we are moving along with that. We've already mentioned that Leslie and I met with an automation company, and that was in your report from last month. Park Meadows Unit 1, Phase 2 is about to be underway, along with the Villas on Main. That's another residential development kind of near Mr. Hall. They are about to be underway for their site work. Madison Village Phase 2 is underway, and then Mr. Hall is progressing with Unit 7. We'll be starting on that fairly soon, correct?
I hope so, Bob.
Okay, all right.
Everybody's like, it's like round the room.
It is around the room.
It's a round table.
Yes. Just a couple of numbers that I tried to get really quick before the meeting. Since the start of this fiscal year, 23-24, we've issued 46 new house permits. We've issued 36 residential COs and 7 commercial COs. That does include business relocations or food trucks. So I realize we don't have a lot of commercial COs for you guys, but the residential COs, it all begets everything. So the more residential people we can have in, then obviously we're gonna get more commercial growth from that. And Leslie already mentioned that I did contact the comptroller's office about the sales tax reallocation to see when that would be, and that is effective October 1st this coming year.
And the company we spoke with about relocating here, I said, well, you know, I'm always kind of curious, why White House? Why is White House where you want to be? They live here. Again, it's one of those,
Oh,
you know,
great.
that the owner and most of their employees live in White House. So,
That's terrific.
Perfect.
yeah.
Excellent.
How's your sales tax holding up?
It's good. Let's see if I can pull up. I don't have that report right in front of me, but yeah, it's continuing to trend up. So.
How is it?
Okay, I guess we're entering into, yeah, well, do we have anything for the executive session?
No.
Not really.
We do not.
Okay, so I guess we really don't need to recess for that. Anything else, or is it adjournment time? I guess we're adjourned.
Sir?
Sorry I was late.
No problem, Tom.
No problem.
Glad you're here.
We had
News from
issues
your
downtown
doctor.
Tyler, I had to go look at it. Didn't anticipate it.